Okay, welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. Those of you that are here, it's nice to see you and nice to see you online as well. One of the announcements that I was asked to make is around citizenship classes. If you or anyone you know is looking for citizenship classes, there is great free citizenship classes through an organization called SOAR. You can get to them on Thursday evenings starting tomorrow. Um, so pass it on to somebody. It's here in the announcements if you know anybody that wants that. The other thing I wanted to announce is the Panther Pantry. If you are not aware of the Panther Pantry at PCC. There is excellent food, including fresh food. They have made a real point of letting everybody know that if you feel like you wouldn't qualify because you have a good enough income, they said it does not matter. Don't let the food go to waste. It's fresh. You're not taking it away from somebody else that needs it. Stop by the pantry. Every student is eligible to do that. So in Rock Creek, you can find it. Well, that just takes me to Rock Creek campus. Okay. Um, let's scoot down here. There we go. That's how we'll find it. It is available Mondays and Tuesdays at Rock Creek, 10:30 to 2:30. You can even order things ahead of time and then go pick it up, or you can just grab and go. Building 5, room 113. That's the closest one. Of course, you can attend any one of these that makes sense for you. Check it out. Any questions about that? All right. Today, we are talking about writing to inform. So we are going to look at informational writing, which is the kind of writing that you're going to see in your college classes. You know, it's what we're doing in here. We do a lot of nonfiction. We do a lot of nonfiction for the GED. That's what most of the questions are. It's not a lot of poetry and literature. It is mostly reading for information. So it's great to just look at how informational texts are organized. And we will also do an email assignment. So look at how do you do formal emails, and then we'll send one. So we are going to try to apply those organizational strategies in our own writing. We're going to try to identify them in other writing. And we're going to look at techniques that increase comprehension. So we're going to do a little editing today too. See if we can hit some different grammar rules by doing some editing. Okay. I was just making sure that wasn't somebody else coming in here. All right, let's look at this video that walks through different kinds of organization for informational texts.
Hello, readers. Let's talk about structure. When architects and engineers design a building, one of the considerations they have to make is structural support. How's this thing going to stay upright? How do we make sure it doesn't blow over in the wind or collapse in an earthquake? And so they say, okay, maybe we'll put reinforcing steel in the concrete and put X braces on the outside or big old pylons in the center. Well, writers do pretty much the same thing. When an author creates an informational text, they ask themselves the same question. How's this thing going to stay upright? How shall I structure this text? Because although it's not physical in the way that a building is physical, texts have structure. You can't touch them, but you can see them. Now, there are many ways to structure a piece of writing, but today I want to talk about 5. Chronology, compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem and solution, and description. Let's talk about each one in turn, using the medium of one of my favorite foods, pizza. I recognize that's a really weird looking pizza, but you can learn anything. I'm going to get better at it before this video is over. So, chronology. Chronology is events described in order. Chronos is Greek for time, so anything that has that distinctive CHRON root is going to be about time. Chronicle, chronometer, chronically. You can suss out if a text is using a chronological structure if it's a sequence in a particular order, or if it's telling a story from history. Recipes are also chronological, right? In order to bake the cake properly, you have to turn the oven on first. And to that end, you can generally identify this text structure by looking for tongue words like first or last, finally. So chronological account could be the history of the origins of modern day pizza in 19th century Naples, or a step-by-step recipe for making pizza dough. Here's an example of the chronology of ordering pizza. This is how you order pizza. First, look up reviews or ask a neighbor to find the best pizza near you. Then, call the pizza place to place your order. Be sure to give your address. Next, it's time to wait. When the pizza finally arrives, make sure to tip the delivery person. Compare and contrast. You've probably heard of this one. When a text compares two or more ideas, that's a compare contrast. The compare step discusses similarities, how things are similar. And then the contrast step discusses how those things are different. Look for clue words like same or different, both and neither, in contrast or on the other hand. Here's an example. When talking about pizza, a long-standing debate is often between deep dish and thin crust pizza. One benefit of deep dish pizza is how efficient it is. Because of its thickness, a 12-inch deep dish pie can serve 6 people. One drawback is that it can be quite messy to eat. Thin crust pizza is good because it's less messy than deep dish, but it's thin, so it takes a larger pizza or multiple pizzas to feed the same number of people as a deep dish pizza can. Cause and effect. This one does what it says on the tin, right? It describes how one idea or event causes another. Here's an example. To celebrate my great report card, my parents let me order pizza with all my favorite toppings. After we ate, we were too stuffed to do anything else. Now, what caused us to get pizza? My great report card. What was the effect of the pizza? We were stuffed. Maybe it was a stuffed pizza. If you stuff yourself with stuffed pizza, does that make you more stuffed than if you stuff yourself with unstuffed pizza? You may scoff, but this is the stuff that keeps me up at night. Problem and solution. In this kind of text structure, the author describes a problem and then explains how that problem was solved. So imagine you want pizza, but you can't have traditional pizza because you're a celiac and have wheat. Necessity is the mother of invention. Enter the cauliflower crust pizza made from cooked cauliflower, cheese, and a variety of gluten-free flours. All right, so what was the problem? You can't eat wheat and pizza dough is made of wheat. How do you solve that problem? By making pizza crust out of cauliflower, which I promise tastes better than it sounds. Finally, description. This is sort of like an encyclopedia entry that explains basic information about a topic, like an explainer piece about what pizza is. I'm going to read this as though I have never heard of pizza before. Pizza, a round flatbread traditionally served warm, originated in Naples, Italy in the 19th century. This flatbread is generally baked at very high temperatures, topped with flavorful tomato sauce and melted mozzarella cheese and served in slices. If you find yourself looking at an informational text and you're struggling to figure out what the structure is, subtract the specifics. If you subtract the specifics, it'll help you think about the structure. And if it helps, you can substitute those specific details about the text with pizza. Is this silly? Yeah, of course. Does it work? I think it does. So is the text structured like a recipe or the history of pizza? If so, it's chronology. Is it comparing two kinds of pizza? Well, then it's in compare and contrast. Does it explain how a good report card led to a pizza dinner? It's cause and effect. Does it describe a pizza problem and how it was solved in a pizza way? Well, that's a problem solution structure. And finally, does it straightforwardly describe what a pizza is without a detailed chronology, comparison, or problem? Because if so, that's a description. Those are only 5 possible ways to structure a piece of writing. They're by no means the only ways, but identifying these will give you the tools to learn even more structures so that you can better understand how writers shape ideas. I hope that this helped, and I also hope that you want pizza now, because I certainly do. You can learn anything, David Allen.
Okay. So in that video, David talked about all of those different kind of text structures. That was chronology, he talked about, compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem solution, description, but there is one more kind that we're going to work on tonight that is really similar to chronology, and it is called sequence. So they are very similar, but just have a little bit of difference. Sequence is something that would be like a how-to list. It would be process or instructions, much like you did in the last class when you wrote your instructions for putting together your Legos. That would be a sequence situation. When you're giving people the steps to do it, they're doing it in a particular order, and it's based on steps. It can be time-based, but doesn't have to be. Chronology, on the other hand, are more of the stories or narrative. This happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Okay, so sequence, more about a process or instructions. Chronology, more about things happening in time. They tend to be more stories. So we're going to practice this because that is the best way to get used to these text structures. And on this handout, you'll see one side has all of these different little organization lines. The other side is short paragraphs. And we're going to figure out which short paragraphs are organized in which way. So I would recommend read the paragraphs one at a time. Excellent. Anybody else need a pencil? Montez, you need something to write with? I would read the paragraphs one at a time and then flip it over, look at the front, see if you can determine which kind of paragraph that is. How is it organized? So there is a spot for every one of the paragraphs, and sometimes it's about process of elimination, right? As you read it, try to figure out where it goes. So this will take a little while. Let me open that up for people on Zoom. This is what it looks like. We've got the different organizations. And then we have these passages down here. So again, I recommend read a passage, then come back on up to the organizer and see if you can tell which kind of paragraph it is for each one. Just if you're at home, make notes for yourself. We can talk about, you don't have to fill in every bit of the graphic organizer, but definitely identify the passage name and think about some things of how it's organized, okay? So we want which passage is chronological, which ones compare, contrast, which ones sequence. Any questions about the instructions? Again, for those of you on Zoom, I encourage you to open this up on your own rather than just my Zoom screen so that you can move as you want to back and forth between the passages and the organization.
And that was located under assignments?
Yes. This is under content.
Okay.
We are in week 3 and writing to inform. And this document is called Identifying Text Structure.
Copy that. All right.
Where are we supposed to write in?
Yeah, you can fill it in. Yeah, fill it in.
So content.
Wait, can we read the first passage and answer it with the
Yes, so I would read the first passage and then flip it back over and try to guess which one. Is it a chronological? Is it compare and contrast? When you know what kind it is, then you start filling in for that passage.
No.
Then you go back and read the next passage. How about on Zoom? Or is everybody able to find it properly?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we're going to take some time to do that. I'm going to step out for a drink of water. I'll be right back.
So are we supposed to like, I don't hear.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
this one? I can play.
Good guess. So there's a slot for each of them. So when I did it too, I wasn't necessarily sure. But you might just really lightly write it in and then see if something fits better for whichever one. If you think it's cause and effect, I would write it in there lightly and then just make sure as you keep reading, maybe something looks even more cause and effect.
Great.
Okay. How's it going for people? Pretty tough? Okay. Little weird, yeah.
Hey, where was it that, where you showed the meanings of, the chronological, the meanings of the things that?
The meanings of them?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's in the video.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but I can talk about them again. So
Okay, yeah,
chronological,
hang on, I should have wrote it down the first time.
it's okay. It's okay. I bet other people need to hear one more time. Chronological is things that are happening in time, like a story that is unfolding through time. Okay, so you'll see a lot of like first, next, later, those kind of words.
Okay, so,
Compare and
So-
contrast, they're going to give you two different things and talk about the ways that they are similar, the ways that they are different.
what was that?
Yeah, compare and contrast will be a paragraph about two things that have some similarities. So they'll talk about the way that they are similar and then the way that they are different.
So compare and contrast is things that are basically similar but different.
Yes, they will have something in common, but then they'll have things that are different too. And they're breaking it down like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Gabe.
Then what was, and then
Chronological is they sometimes have was and is in them, but it's like just a story unfolding through time. Okay. So there's a lot of keywords in chronology like first, next, later, those kinds of things. Sequence then is something that happens in order, like a sequence of events. So it's a lot of times instructions how to do something. Cause and effect is going to tell you something happened and it caused another thing to happen. So there's a relationship between two things. First, this happened, it caused something else to happen.
The last one was cause and effect.
Yep.
Okay.
Problem and solution is they're gonna present to you a problem and then tell you how to solve it. Like, here's the problem I see, here is a solution. It's often a good sales technique. So if you see somebody trying to sell you something, they're often giving you like, don't you hate it when you have moss on the roof? Well, here's how you solve that. Buy my product and it'll take care of the moss. So problem
be like-
solution.
I'd be like, no, I'm never on the roof.
Yeah. And then in this sheet, there's going to be two passages that are chronological because it comes up twice.
Hey, I'm just gonna step over and grab a cup of coffee real quick.
Yeah, you bet.
Cool.
How's it going? Yeah.
Can you explain sequencing?
Yeah, so sequence is like when you have instructions. It's like a how-to, or if you were writing instructions on how to do something in order.
Chronological is like,
Chronological is more of a story that's happening in time. They're both in order, for sure. They're very good at that one, but one is like a little more just like, do this and next do this and next do this, and chronological is a little bit more of a tale. That's just told in time order.
and there's two chronological.
Yes. Yes.
So like Save the Tigers, eating. Usually it's eating hands.
That's what we're working, it is talking about text structure. So we're reading each one of these passages and trying to figure out what is the text structure compared on the other side. Yeah,
Did you read all of the passages?
have I?
Okay.
Yes. Do I remember them all super clearly right this minute? No, but I will.
For number 4.
Uh-huh.
I can't tell
Oh,
the
okay.
problem solution or. Yeah,
I'm gonna give this about 5 more minutes. How you doing? Ready to go over them? No, okay, couple more minutes.
Do we fill out everything? All of them?
Yeah, if you can fill out pieces inside of there, that's awesome. Okay, if you're not quite finished, it's all right. We'll do it together. So if we come back up here, we know that there are two chronological passages because they've given us two spots for that. What's one of the chronological passages that you identified? Yeah, Angel,
The Great Recession.
the Great Recession. Great Recession. Possibly not chronological. Anybody have another chronological? Yeah,
Chemical,
Gabe.
chemical and physical changes.
Okay, I'm gonna say that one's not as chronological as you might think either. How about you, Gabe? Do you have one? Best PB&J ever. That one's not quite chronological either. Yeah, Bobby Fischer, great choice. That one is chronological. Yes, Bobby Fischer. So some of the things that help us know, and by the way, that is totally fine to get them wrong at this stage. This is just introducing the idea. Over the next weeks, and I should have probably led with it, over the next weeks, we're going to do a deeper dive on each of these topics. Like what is compare contrast? How do we create them? What more does it look like? So this is just an introduction to get used to the names, see some passages that are like that. So I don't expect anybody to just look at this the first time and get it. This is just an exercise to like get going on this. So yes, Bobby Fischer is a chronological passage because it's talking about how he went from the age of 6 and taught himself to play and grew up and what happened when he turned 13. And then it lets us know what happened when he turned 14. There's some key words in here besides the ages that he would grow to become. That's one. Let's see. After spending much of his childhood, those are some of the chronological phrases that would clue us in. Yeah. Let's see if we can find the other chronological passage, which is another one that's chronological. And by the way, sequence and chronology are confused all the time. So that is
The best PB&J ever.
the best PB&J ever is not going to be quite chronological. Good guess though. Yes, it's the screen protector. So, yeah, what's that? You thought that was sequence? Yeah, it's really easy to switch those around, right? That is, seems very sequency as well. So what, if we could identify like a difference of why that is more chronological than the best PB&J ever, is that, yeah, it's pretty tricky to tell the difference, isn't it? Evenly applied, they're both instructional. It's pretty tricky to tell the difference. Why would I say before versus, why would I say? I agree that screen protector is the chronology one. Now I'm trying to look for evidence of why that is. When I got home after a long day of school, I took out the peanut butter and jelly. After taking off the lids, I spread. The PB&J is definitely, I did the first thing, I did the next thing, I did the next thing.
Wouldn't PBJ be sequence?
Yes, it's sequence. Yeah. Before applying the screen protector, clean your phone with once the surface is clean, remove the evenly apply. But boy, your screen
Problem
protector sounds
solution.
really sequency to me too.
I
It
thought
does
that,
sound really sequency.
I thought
Yeah.
that one was a problem and solution. Oh, I mean, never,
Oh, yeah,
never
yeah,
mind.
that's a good
Screen
guess.
protector. Sorry,
That's a good
that's what I meant. Was
screen protector.
sequence? Save the tigers. Problem and solutions.
Yeah.
Tigers would be problem and solution.
Yes, Save the Tigers is the problem solution one. Absolutely. How about cause and effect? Passage 5, yes, the Great Recession. Yeah, that one works best for that. So that leaves compare and contrast is chemical and physical, because they have ways that chemical and physical changes are similar. They also talk about the ways that they're different. Excellent. So, yeah, kind of challenging to identify. That's why we have whole classes devoted to each of these topics coming up. But it's just nice to know, to see them kind of all together at once, so we can compare and see what that's like. A lot of times when we're writing something, we may not at first have realized that we are putting together one of these structures. But almost every single writing, and there's one more that's not in here. Anybody remember from the video? There was one more that he mentioned that is not in this format. It was descriptive. Yeah, description or descriptive writing. That's what we're starting with next week, and we will do each of these in turn for a class. Just kind of dive a little bit deeper so we get a better understanding. But great job working through that. Shall we do, I'll leave it up to you. Shall we do editing a paragraph next? Or do you want to have the break next for 15 minutes and then come back and edit paragraph? Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So this is editing a paragraph. And I'm going to give it to you on paper. There are, says about 30 mistakes in this paragraph. Some of them are mistakes about capitalization. Some are punctuation. Some are spelling errors.
Didn't we used to do this in middle school?
Yeah. You may have, we're gonna just visit it again to help us identify if there's any of these that we need to work on more. Thank you. Okay, so see if you can come up with and change on this. Where are the errors? See if we can find the errors, then we'll pull them up and talk about them
Sure.
together. So I know that's a little challenging if you are over Zoom, because you're gonna almost have to rewrite it to correct the mistakes. But I encourage you to do that. There's also mistakes of verb tense matching. Is it? Pardon me? What does it mean, format? Oh, yes, this, yeah, what does it mean, format? That's a great question. So I think they just mean like verb tense and stuff like that. There's nothing to fix about the format. You can ignore that word in there. So verb tense is like, did they say something in the future when it really is supposed to be a word from the past? Like a verb tense, like go, going, gone. How was that, Gabe? Easy? Hard?
Oh,
Yeah. 30 is a lot. I don't even believe there's 30 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One, 22, 23, 24, 25. I only count 25, so.
You put a bunch of periods in it?
There's adding some punctuation, yeah. You don't have to get every one, you know, we're just like, we're aiming for it. See what things we need to do more grammar on in here. That's kind of what this is about, like where are the holes, you know? And some of them are just spelling corrections.
I almost said,
Yeah. Okay. Are we ready to look at it, or do you want a few more minutes? Gabe's ready. How about Chris, Michael, and Nua? How are you feeling? You ready to look at the corrections?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't expect everybody to catch them all. I completely don't. The first one, I have a dog whose name. So the way that it was written here with who and an apostrophe means who is. If we have the apostrophe who apostrophe s, we go back and look at that. It should be whoop, not whose, because that is means who is. So whose name is
I got
Nick.
that. Whoops,
You-
sorry.
Oh, that's good. No, go for it, Anua.
I accidentally unmuted myself, but I clearly did not see that one. I missed that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in here. There's a lot of things. So the next one that comes up is just a misspelling of exceptional. Okay, then we've got a period after animal. He's an exceptional animal. We need the sentence to end. We also then need to capitalize the first letter of the next sentence. He always comes when he's called and never barks unless a stranger is at the door. Period. He is better than. Anybody know the difference between than and then? Let's look it up. Anybody miss that one? Yeah.
that is.
Not, it's not just tense. That's a good guess. It's not just tense. How would we describe that? Difference. Then is like the next thing that happens, and then, but than is, yeah. So then indicates time or sequence. Than is for making comparisons. That's a good way to say it, for making comparisons. So in this sentence, they're talking about
Like
he
you
is
would say, I'm better.
than my fish. So he's comparing between those two. Yeah, Michael.
I was gonna say, like you would say, I'm better than you, not better than you.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, perfect example. We would say better than you with THAN. If we were saying something then you, it would be like, I'll walk out the door and then you can go. Yeah. Okay, better than my fish because I can run and play with him whenever I want. So that should be one word, whenever. Too close together? Yeah, then it's fine. You got it. This isn't being scored. We're just trying to hit some information, identify what we need to work on. It's not about getting it all right. Okay, intelligent, that was a misspelling. And intuitive, that one's spelled okay. He knows, so we needed the KNOWS in that situation. He knows when it's time. That is the apostrophe it, so that is it is. Its apostrophe stands for it is time for dinner. And he waits for me to feed him. Occasionally, comma, we almost always need this Y is, identified to just like help you see the parentheses, but yeah, occasionally, comma. Nick grows impatient, and that was a spelling correction, and feeds himself. He can nudge the lid off. We don't need the of. We say that all the time, right? Knock that off of the table or something, but that's an unnecessary word. They've chosen a semicolon here. A comma would just be totally fine too. So this is trying to show you right there that we don't need a comma there. It's trying to cross it out. So that's very hard to represent here, but this is not that you need a comma and a dash. It's saying get rid of that comma. He can also, no comma, open the door to the garbage cabinet and help himself if he ever becomes really hungry. Again, these are unnecessary words. And starving, we've already said hungry. You could exchange and have chosen starving instead.
What's it called that when you're just adding certain?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just,
that's-
it's eliminating unnecessary words, or it's called wordiness. Like you just don't need that many words.
Okay, then there's the big word, that's, we learned it last time.
Yeah, we talked about, I can't think of the one that you're thinking of. But it is like verbose, it is repetitive, it is.
What is it? word?
Yeah, okay, I'll look it up on over break to see if it hits like the one that I used last time. Yes, but we don't want to, we want to get rid of extra unnecessary words for sure. So my dog is polite and never overreacts to visitors. That was a spelling mistake. He only barks when strangers come. That's about the tense of those. He barks when strangers come. To the door and doesn't know, he doesn't know. Okay. Even though Nick is 11, why might 11 be read here? I left it the same personally, but why, what do you think the source that I got this from identified 11 as a problem?
Is it supposed to be spelled out?
I think they want it to be spelled out. The rule is actually you're supposed to spell out any words under 10. So I don't know why they went with 11, but you are supposed to spell the whole word out if it's under 10. So I left that one alone. I have a fish too. TOO means also. I have a fish also, or TOO too, but he can't run. Overall, Nick is an excellent pet and friend. The spelling correction on friend to have around. Where did we see things that were missed? Like what kinds of things were they? If we were going to do some more grammar specific things, what are the things that this identified for you as a problem? Anything?
Can you rephrase it? Or-
Yeah. So how about, I'll just go through them. Let's see if we can find anywhere that there's a problem. How about, did you get the punctuation all correct? Punctuations, periods, commas. Anybody need help with that? Okay. How about verb tense? Whether it was came to the door or barks, come, those ones. Yeah, verb tense. Okay. How about what else is in here? The words with apostrophes in them, contractions.
For me, it was a little dot and then the comma.
Oh, the semicolon. So that again, that one is a choice. And so if you did not put that in here and you've got, what's the original say? lid off the crock and tip it over. Yes. So you can, you could get rid of that. You could, there's a couple different ways to go. So I wouldn't make too big of a deal about that. That's a choice. That one's really a choice. How about, capitalization? Did everybody catch that first place to end the sentence and start a new one? Okay, that's a super important one then. We will look at that because that one will have a big difference in your writing. Okay. So verb tense and separating sentences. Okay. Good job, everybody. Thanks for giving it a try. Let's go ahead and take a break. It's currently 7:02. Come back, please, at 7:17, 15-minute break.
Or we can do it more.
Yes, there's going to be homework today. Yeah. We're going to do a couple more activities and then do homework.
The-
Uh-huh.
or-
You can keep those. Yeah. Only assignments you turn back to me. Oh, yeah. There isn't something to hand out. The homework is, and this video really helps though. It's how exactly to format a formal email, and then you're gonna send me a formal email.
Okay.
Okay, so if we look in here,
You're supposed to use signatures in the emails?
yes. Formal ones, informal, if you're just writing to your friends or something,
I
you know,
I know how to write an email, but I didn't know you're supposed to use.
yeah, it's, yeah, I know, it's actually a really useful video. So let
I
me.
can send you a proper email.
Yeah, so after you watch that, you're gonna send it on one of these issues right here. So you can do, and this is what we're working on next also. It's not to be turned in, but you'll wanna have that.
Yeah.
So, the assignment will be email either a doctor asking for more information on a medical report, but you're gonna send it to me. This is just a pretend email to show me how official it is, right? Or you're asking a coworker for clarification or a potential interview to thank them for, potential employer to thank them for a recent interview. So your email has to include a greeting salutation, a subject line that identifies this as an assignment. Clearly state your question, closing or sign off, and your name.
Okay.
And it's in that video just like takes you through everything and the spacing and the whole
It's
thing.
on the my CC.
Yeah, so when you go to my PCC, if you go to this little computer symbol up here, and then you come into this here, and you have to pick our class, you can also find it. I've got a lot of stuff in here, but you can find it
Yeah, I only have like
in here.
3 courses.
Yeah. Reading and writing. And then this is week 3. So you go to content.
Wow, that's where I was confused at.
Yeah, the content part, yes. So from home, you go to content. This has all the weeks. And then when you get to week 3, you're here. This is Monday's class. This is today's class, Wednesday's class.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Gabe.
Have a good day.
You too. Yeah, what's that? Okay, welcome back. We are going to take a look at just a little bit more editing. This is a little bit more similar to the way that you'll see it on the GED. We're going to just go through a few questions, few pages like this. Sorry, I don't have it on paper. I cannot print this effectively. So if you need to move up closer to read it well, please do that. But unlike just going through and editing at random, this is giving you some choices. What do you think the problem is? That is very similar to what they do on the GED. There's only a couple questions that ask you to edit, but they are similar to this. What would you change? So take a couple minutes, read this through, and see if we can figure out the 2 questions on here. Ready? Or need another minute? How about Anua, Michael, Christopher? Are you there? And do we have an answer?
Yes, what was that, Colleen? Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Sometimes I just can't tell. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I can't tell if you have, stepped away or not. Okay, so what do you think for number 1? What change should be made to line 2?
D.
Everybody's got, good. D, it is the misspelling of temperature. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, how about number 2? What is the best revision to that sentence?
B.
Click B. B, there are apps that turn the effects of exercise on our moods into graphs and also on certain foods. That's starting to get a little confused in the meaning. It's got like just too many extra words in there and it's getting it.
Is it C?
Actually, it's A is the best one. Yeah, that one's A. There are
A is the
apps
same
that
one
turn
that
the
they had,
effects of
right?
certain foods and exercise on our moods into graphs.
A is
No
what they
matter
already
what,
had.
what's that? Say that again,
A
Michael?
is what they already had there.
A is the one, yes.
Okay,
Yeah. So pretty tough. They're all a little wonky, right? They're all a little wonky. Yeah, I know. All right, we'll save the rest for later. This is too frustrating. Okay. All right. Let's look at, we're just doing a bunch of random stuff that we are about to expand on later. So the other thing that is random that we are going to dive much deeper into as time goes on is fit. Let's do that, fit. Let me get this on here. We're going to talk about informational essays. No, fit is better. No. Let's do slideshow. That's better. Okay. 2. Thesis statement, very similar to a main idea. So we've already talked about main idea. A thesis statement, when you are writing an essay, is the thing that you want to get out there. It's a little more specific than just a main idea. It's like, I have a point to make, and here's the whole point that I'm about to expand on. Okay, so for classes in college, we are writing informative essays all the time. Different kinds, and we'll talk about those different kinds, but it's supposed to educate you. I mean, it's the same thing that you're reading whenever you need to know something about nursing or about whatever it is you're going to be working on. It'll come to you in the form of informative essays. So we want to figure out right away, what is the thesis statement, or what is the main point that they want to get to us? So what it is not just a question or a phrase. It is definitely not wishy-washy. You have to make a very specific point in your thesis statement. So imagine main idea, but also with a very specific point that you're about to elaborate on. So it's not going to be off topic. It's going to be very main idea-ish, and it is not buried within the essay. You are going to lead with it, let everybody know what you're about to write about, and then get into it. So we've got the topic or the subject that you're writing about. That's going to be in there. The claim, what are you claiming about that topic? And what are the subtopics? What would be another way that we've been talking about in here that might be another way to describe subtopics? When we did that main idea exercise, what was the other piece that we were bringing to it? We had to
Supporting
find the main
details?
idea and use supporting details. So subtopics are a lot like those supporting details. You're going to create paragraphs, if you're writing a whole essay, on things that support your main idea. Okay, so those are the subtopics. So the thesis statement tells your reader what it's going to be about, and they have to be incomplete sentences for sure, and it's going to have a focus on it. So it might introduce after that the subtopics that you're going to see, but your thesis statement just stays within that main idea range, main idea plus a point, okay? Whew. Here's again a little bit more information about the kinds of organization for these essays. They're using, some of them are just a little bit different words than what we've already seen, but we already talked about compare and contrast. So that is analyzing the similarities and differences between two or more things. We want to really, we use that whenever we have something that we're really probably trying to draw a distinction between, and help people understand what the distinction between two different things are. Compare and contrast. Cause and effect, you saw that in a paragraph that you read earlier too. We are looking at how one thing affects another. This happens in history a lot. The one thing that caused the next thing to happen that caused the next thing. So really, really common in social studies readings to have cause and effect structure. Classification, this is a very academic form. If you're doing something biological, for example, they're talking about how to break down and classify things. Even although that's not the kind of paragraph that we read, if we were reading about chemistry or something scientific, very classification based. We want to know how to group and organize things that are similar. Descriptive is quite often used in literature where we're just going to kind of expound and describe something for people. That's kind of tough to do in some informative essays because we need to have a little bit more point. So this is a little less common in an informative essay. And then we have that problem solution. Just like the little paragraph that we saw about the tigers. Oh no, tigers are disappearing. Here's what we can do to save it. I'm going to present you with a situation and then give you some solutions. Also very scientific. A lot of times we have science things that come up as problems we identify and then work out the solutions to them. Process is probably what we were using to describe either chronology or more likely sequence. It is how something works or how something happens in an order of events. Okay, So process can include things that are not just step by step. It might be explaining how something functions. So here we've got, yeah, really good examples of each type of them too. Compare and contrast. Living in the city versus living in the country. Similarities and differences between elementary and middle school. Good examples. Cause and effect, the causes and effects of obesity, effects of air pollution on human health, causes and effects of opioid epidemic in the United States. The classification on different types of pets and their personalities, different types of learners in a classroom, different type of sports and their equipment. Again, that you could also put a lot of scientific information under there in our classification. So descriptive, these are the kind of essays that you would write, and we're going to be doing some of those. A favorite meal or food dish, we'll be talking about that next week. Day in the life of your favorite fictional character, that'd be a fun essay. Problem and solution, they give the examples of what do we do about plastic waste and some solutions to reduce it. What do we do about cyberbullying among teenagers? And the process ones that they give are how to plan and execute a successful workout routine, or the process for baking or decorating a cake. So again, similar to sequence, kind of a how-to situation. Any questions about those categories? Okay. So we're going to try to identify what the topic, the claim, and the subtopics are just from this thesis statement. So here's the first one. Thesis statement: dogs and cats share similarities as well as differences. Both make great pets and can be therapeutic, but cats are cleaner and easier to care for. So before we even get into the boxes, what kind of thesis statement, what kind of informational essay do you think follows this?
They're persuasive.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job, everybody. Compare and contrast. That was all just in unison of many people. Wonderful. Yes, this is a compare and contrast essay. What is the topic? This doesn't have to be a whole sentence here, just a few words. Cats and dogs and cats, you bet. What is the claim that is being made?
And cats are cleaner than dogs.
Yeah, how about Chris this time?
Cats are cleaner than dogs.
Cats are cleaner than dogs. That's the claim that's being made. What other claim is in there?
Let's see.
Great pets and therapeutic.
Yes, that's that's the way that they're similar, but he is making a claim. Cats are cleaner than dogs,
Easier to
and
care
what else?
for.
Easier to care for. Yeah, excellent, excellent. Team Zoom came through, tag teamed all the way through that.
Yeah.
Nice work. Okay, so then we've already mentioned some of them. What are the subtopics that could come up in this?
Like
Yeah,
anyone
what did-
said, therapeutic.
Yep. Anua picked out the therapeutic and Michael seconded that. Yes, therapeutic.
Yes,
What
yes.
else?
Similarities? No?
Great pets.
Yeah, we could talk about how they're great pets. We could talk about those similarities. That could be a subtopic, how they're both great pets.
We
And
just
why.
love them. All of them.
Yeah, we love them. What's one more subtopic?
Um,
How cats are cleaner and easier to care for.
Exactly. Yes, they're going to expound on that and give us some more information about them being cleaner and easier. Terrific. And I had us answer the very last question first. It is compare and contrast. Great job.
Cats are smaller than dogs.
Yeah, they are. That makes it a lot easier sometimes, unless you get one of those tiny little yippy dogs. Which I know they can be fun too. I'm not here to put down any tiny dogs.
Right.
Okay, thesis statement number 2, jealousy is often caused by insecurities and lack of trust and results in damaged relationships, hurt feelings, and eventually isolation of the jealous person. Woo! All right, what is this topic?
Jealousy.
Jealousy. you
Jealousy.
bet.
Damaged relationships subtopic
Yeah,
and hurt
Absolutely.
feelings.
that's a good one for a subtopic.
Claim caused by insecurities and lack of trust.
Yep, sounds good. You're just swinging for the fences here.
Isolation.
And isolation would be another subtopic, you bet. Okay, here's the tricky one though.
Cause
What
and
type
effect.
of essay, what type of writing is this gonna be, do you think?
Cause and effect.
Sounds good. It could be cause and effect. You betcha. Anybody else? Any other thoughts or ideas? Okay. Excellent. Okay, let's try another one. Boom. The most popular games amongst middle school students are Minecraft, Fortnite, and League of Legends. Interesting. What's our
Okay.
topic here?
Games.
Popular games.
Good. Yeah, popular games. Popular games. Excellent. What claim
Subtopic.
are they making?
Oh, let's see. Most popular.
Most popular.
Yes, they are claiming that those are the most popular. What are
Sub-
the subtopics going to be?
It would be the games, Minecraft and Fortnite and League of
Yeah.
Legends.
League of Legends.
Absolutely. So maybe they'll set it up so that there are paragraphs for each of these games, but maybe not. What if you were just to imagine writing an essay about this? What might be some of the other subtopics that could be in there? We don't know, but what else? How else might they organize it? Because that could be kind of boring if we have an essay. It's like Minecraft is great. And then I
Popular-
get down to the next time. Fortnite is great. Yeah. What do you think?
Popular games amongst middle school school students, sorry.
Yeah. So there might be paragraphs about the middle school students in specific. What else might we have subtopics about?
The characters in the game, the quests that are in
Sure.
the game.
Sure.
The different kinds of mods and packs you can buy since I buy them all the
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. So if this is our claim that they are among the most popular, we may not want to just list them and talk about the games, right? We want to support our claim. So what are some of the things that would support why it's the most popular?
The kind of game it is.
Yeah, we might talk about like how they are collaborative. I don't even know, but
It's-
how they might be collaborative and how the social aspect of it makes it really popular. It might be about
Cross-
the cost of the game being lower than other games, and so they're more accessible to people, and so more people are playing them. There's just like a
Or you
million
can play it
different ways you can do
online.
it.
Yeah, it's cross-platform.
Yes.
Or
Yep.
PvP.
Platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the subtopics here could just be all over the place, depending on how you set this up. But they have to be things that support your claim. So to just have the names of the games and talk more about the games, unless you're doing it in a supportive way, might not be good enough.
This would have to
So-
be a classification.
Yeah, what type, you think it's a classification?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
yes, I do.
It could be. It could be.
That's-
Everybody else think that's gonna be a classification? Yeah. You could probably turn it into something compare contrast if you wanted
Yeah.
to, or just make it descriptive. But I think classification is probably a good choice for this. Okay,
That's wonderful.
the
We
next, oh
I
yeah,
love
go ahead,
those
say that
games.
again, Chris.
I said that these are I love those games. This is like, this is cool
These-
stuff.
I don't know anything about those games. So, but thank you. I'm glad other people do. Okay, thesis statement. Another thing that we have to do is when we read it, we're gonna analyze it. So we wanna figure out if the thesis statement here has a topic, has a claim, and also has subtopics within it. So let's see if we can determine. Social media has negative effects on teenagers' mental health due to increased feelings of anxiety, unhealthy comparison habits, and increased exposure to cyber bullying. Do we have a topic here?
Yes,
Yeah. Do we have a claim?
Yes.
yes,
Do we have subtopics?
yes, we do.
Yeah, this is very complete. No problems. We don't have to rewrite it. It's all good. Check, check, check.
Check.
Okay, how about this one? Regular exercise is essential for middle school students. Do we have a topic?
Yes,
Yes. Do we have a
Exercise,
claim?
yeah.
Yes.
Do we have subtopics?
I'm in class right now.
Hello, hello.
Regular
Yes, we
exercise.
don't really have subtopics for this one.
No.
Can we think of some that we could use?
What do you call sentence?
Damn it.
Um,
What do you call that?
it's a complete sentence. There's not really a problem with the sentence, but it's not a complete thesis statement. Yeah. It's just like, why? Why? We gotta know something. It's like we need to finish this. Can you think of any way you could finish this sentence that might have some subtopics? Regular exercise is essential for middle school students.
Maybe talk about working out.
Yep, you could totally talk about working out. Why would it be essential? That's what I come back to is it's essential. Well, why? What does it do for us?
Keep us in shape.
Yeah, keep us in shape and what maybe improve your mental clarity, improve your just overall health, right?
Athletic.
Yeah, athletic, help you in athletics, help your energy level to stay in school. There's a lot of different ways they could have answered.
Did
how
you already
it's
say
essential.
improve your mental health?
Yes, absolutely. Your mental health also. Fantastic. So we've got kind of a claim saying that it's essential, but there's no subtopics to back it up, and it's almost an unfinished claim. Okay, how about this one? Research has shown that students who consume healthy food are more likely to excel. Do we have a topic?
Yes.
Yes. Do we have a claim?
Yes.
Do we have subtopics? No, we don't have any subtopics in here. We could talk more about what kinds of healthy food, but they didn't really give us any subtopics to work with. Can you come up with some?
Let's see here. Students.
What is like, what's the thing that we're trying to support? with our
Healthy
sub-
school food.
We're not really supporting the food.
Oh, wait.
Health, health.
We're
Food,
supporting
health, yeah.
that they're likely to excel. Like how?
Oh, okay.
What does that mean? Like how will they excel? Socially, excellent, yes.
We'll have to show
Mentally.
data.
Yeah,
Have to show data on the foods that they eat and how they interact with their body and their minds, what vitamins they give them.
yeah.
Yeah, brain
excellent.
food. Yeah.
So an important thing here, and we've seen it now in a couple of them, it's like we're picking out the word that they have suggested or like what's going to happen as a result. In this case, it's students that consume healthy food excel. Okay, now excel is kind of the key there. What are the things, what would be the subtopics that support excelling? Same with this one. They said it was essential. We need things that support how it's essential, why it's essential. Here's the answers. Do. Okay. Yep. All right. Great job, everybody. Great job. Is that the end? Yes, that is the end. Okay. All right. So we're going to be headed toward essay writing, and that was great. Great job, everybody. did wonderful identifying what pieces we need. The last thing that we're doing today is talking about how to write formal emails. So this is just that writing to inform piece, okay? So when we are writing to inform and we need to communicate it, let's look at the very specific format that is only for formal email. So a lot of time we are just exchanging emails and texts with people where we do not absolutely have to be formal, right? It's even silly in a text whenever people sign off with their name sometimes. So it's only for certain circumstances, but in those certain circumstances, like looking for a job, like communicating with professionals in your life that you're trying to like be very grown up about and professional, you want to have it follow a particular format. And this is a great video that's real quick that helps us understand.
In this video, you'll learn how to format an email, including parts of the email, how to capitalize, where to leave spaces and empty lines, and how to do the optional signature block at the end. Here's an example of an email that's formatted correctly. Let's look at the parts of this email. First, we have the subject. The subject is
Okay. I'm just putting a pause on there for each of these parts because she talks so fast. So make sure you fill in a subject line, and it very specific. People search for their emails based on the subject line a lot of times, not just who it's from, but like what it's about. So emails, even if you try to send them and they don't have a subject line, will check with you again. Are you sure you want to send this without a subject? Right? Notice we do have a lot of spacing in there too.
like a short title that tells your reader what your email is about. Then we have the salutation where you're saying hello to your recipient. In the body of the email, you write your message. Then you have your closing where you sort of say goodbye. Then you have your electronic signature, which is your first and last name. And then at the bottom, sometimes there is an optional signature block. You don't need a signature block, but many people use them, and you might also want to have one. Let's now talk about what to capitalize in your email. First, let's talk about what to capitalize in your subject. We capitalize subjects like we capitalize a book title. But what do we capitalize in book titles? We capitalize the first word, the last word, and important words. How do we know if a word in a title or an email subject line is important? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs are important words in a title and should be capitalized. Here are some examples. Like teacher, boy, and parent, which there are many, many hundreds of other words that could be people. Places, 3 examples are school, city, and library. Things like book, homework, idea. Actions like run, ask, need, or help. Adjectives like sick, easy, great. And adverbs like not, very, and always. What about words that are not important and should not be capitalized? These include articles, conjunctions, or prepositions that are 3 letters or shorter, like these: and, but, by, for, or, in, if, out, of, off, so on, am, and they. These are examples that are used often, but of course there are many other words that are not important in titles and should not be capitalized. Now we've talked about what to capitalize in the subject. What about the salutation? In a salutation, capitalize the first word plus all nouns. Let's look at some other examples of email salutations. Here we have dear hiring manager, dear Professor Smith, dear board of directors, dear mom and dad, and dear Sophia. There are 2 types of email salutations. The first 3 examples that we see here are formal salutations. At the end of a formal salutation, the punctuation you use is called a colon, or the 2 dots that you see used at the end of our first 3 examples. You need to use a formal email salutation when you're writing emails with job applications, emails to leaders in your company, school, or community, and emails to other people in higher positions. The other type of email salutation is an informal salutation, like the last 2 that you see here. At the end of an informal salutation, the punctuation you use is a comma. Informal salutations are used when you write to friends and family, people you see daily or often, and sometimes to teachers or professors. It depends on the culture and the relationship you have with the person, just as any email salutation does. So we've covered what to capitalize in the email subject and salutation. Now let's talk about the closing. In the closing, you capitalize only the first word. The second word in a closing should not be capitalized. Some examples of other email closings that are formal, professional, and will work in almost any situation. Best regards, sincerely, thank you, best, yours truly and respectfully. Now we've reviewed capitalization, let's look at where we need to leave empty lines and spaces in your emails. First, leave an empty line after your salutation. Always leave empty lines between paragraphs. Leave one empty line before your closing and one empty line after your closing. Notice, you do not need an empty line or a comma after your electronic signature. Now let's talk about the optional signature block. Signature block contains contact information about the sender, as well as information like the sender's website, YouTube channel, or other professional contact information. Here's example one.
My comment about signature blocks, and you may not have one or need them, but if you are sending something formal, that's how everybody knows it's official. Like I have under my name that I work at PCC, so when students ask me to send something to somewhere, they can see I work at PCC. Here's the department I work for. Here's how they could contact me, right? So if, for example, you wanted to start your own business, and young people, have anybody ever in here started a business, little business? You'd want to put a signature block. People would take it much more seriously, like, oh, this business really exists. I'm working at this real place, instead of just like a general email. It adds legitimacy to it. Yeah. You've started a business, Anua? What's your business? You're counseling? Or something else?
Yeah, no, it's just a little small business. It's just making indigenous jewelry.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. What's it called? If you don't want to tell me, it's okay too. Very cool.
Name, email, website, and YouTube channel. Here's example two. You have the person's name, phone number, position or job. Notice after the job, you have the company, and between those two, a comma. Finally, after that, you have his mailing address at the bottom. Here we have example three that's very similar to example two, except that the company name and the job or position appear on two different lines, so we don't need to separate them with a comma. Here we have example four, a signature block of a university student, where you have the person's name, phone number, position, which is student, and his university. So now we've concluded our video on how to format an email. I hope that this video helped you. Thanks a lot for watching.
Okay. What questions do you have about formal emails? Okay. Then let me go to our assignment. Really easy. You can do it from anywhere. You can get in here to see the instructions, but you're not going to send it through D2L. You are going to go into your email. It can be your personal email, that's okay. If you don't access PCC email as much, but I do want to encourage you to access PCC email whenever you can, because there's a lot of great information in there, and you'll just need it for ongoing college courses. But anyway, for the purpose of this assignment, you just need to email me at pcc.edu any one of these imaginary concerns, okay? So it's as if you're writing to them, but when I see your name and I know it's from you, I know it's for the assignment, okay? So you're going to put assignment in the subject line for ideal situations.
Are we gonna email it?
Yeah, you're gonna email it. You're gonna.
How are we gonna
email.
submit it though on the?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You don't have to submit it. I can put in grades. You don't have to submit it through D2L. You just can get the instructions, but now you have them on paper, so. We want to have it be either something like a doctor, like you're sending an email to a doctor asking for more information, or a coworker asking for clarification on a project, a potential employer to thank them for the recent interview. And you've got to make sure that it has that greeting or salutation subject line that identifies this as an assignment. So you can, any way you want to, assignment, and then what the subject would be. Clearly state your question or concern, have your closing, sign off, and your name in the email. Again, you do not need to submit it through this, but you might like to get in here to see the things again. You can absolutely do it from your phone. Any questions?
I just realized that I do this a lot when I send emails.
You say that again, Michael?
I just realized that when I send an email, I do it in the format that we just learned. I
Oh,
put a
really? You always
subject,
do?
I put sincerely,
Ah,
yeah.
You've
It's
just
weird.
seen it before and like adopted it already.
Well, I was looking at my emails just now and I was like, I do this, so it's weird.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're a very professional man. Yeah, yes. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks. See you. Yes. Oh, no, it's no worry, Anua.
So what are we doing now?
That's it. This is the assignment for tonight. So if you have any past assignments that are incomplete, you could work on that. But once you send me an email, that's it for tonight.
Okay.